An ex-boyfriend charged with first-degree murder. What court documents say about a young woman living in fear. Cool, wet weather causes issues in Calgary.
In terms of number of games that have had to be rescheduled.
From empty fields to flooding. And along for the ride, how a pedal program is benefiting Southern Alberta seniors.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Jordan Canigan.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Calgary police have charged a man with murder after a shooting that claimed the life of 23-year-old Madisson Cobb. Investigators confirm the accused is the ex-boyfriend of the woman. The man was the subject of a restraining order and was already facing harassment charges. Tyler Barrow has more.
A suspect has been charged in the killing of Madisson Cobb. On Monday, 26-year-old Devin Bradley Malik was taken into custody in the 7500 block of McLeod Trail Southwest. Malik is facing first-degree murder charges in relation to the death of Cobb. On Saturday, Cobb was shot and killed in this parkade in the 8700 block of Horton Road Southwest. For Rachel Dibb, whose 22-year-old sister was murdered by her ex-boyfriend, the crime is chilling. Cobb was just 23 years old.
What really hit close to home is seeing her age. She's really close to Nedia's age when she passed away.
Cobb is being remembered for her passion for life, pride in her work, and love for her family. In her obituary, loved ones say the 23-year-old will be deeply missed and lovingly remembered for her laughter, contagious smile, and the way she lit up every room she entered. On June 10th, the courts issued a restraining order against Malik. He couldn't go within 100 meters of her home and her place of employment, LASIK MD, located just above where she was killed. He was also facing 2 criminal harassment charges. In court documents obtained by CTV News, Cobb details harassment by Malik when she broke up with him on January 28th. She explains the multiple interactions, including in February, when she says he faked being in the ICU for me to go and see him. He later confirmed he was never in the hospital. In March 2025, his aunt made me aware that he was in the hospital for stabbing himself and cutting open his stomach. I went to the hospital to support him in getting mental help. And the RCMP made us aware that he has a firearm that they were unable to find. He confirmed he had one when speaking to me. And in a text exchange, Malik said, "Oh, we need to talk because it's not me that's the problem. Life will get a lot easier for you again. No threats because I'm not the one you have to worry about." And here's how she ended her request for a restraining order. "I shake and have panic attacks when I'm out or hear my phone go off out of fear he is there. I live in fear every day from him. I want him out of my life." That restraining order was granted on June 10th.
A restraining order at the end of the day is just a piece of paper, and they put so much emphasis on how important it is, but that's all it is. It's a piece of paper. It will not stop a perpetrator from reaching the victim.
Well, one women's shelter says this just speaks to the many women who are a victim of domestic violence.
Domestic violence is a community-wide issue. It's very prevalent. Every 6 days in Canada, a woman is killed by someone that once said, "I love you."
Malik is set to appear in court on Wednesday. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
Now, court records show Malik was facing charges of harassment for incidents on May 30th and June 1st. Heavy rain caused some big problems on the morning commute. Water pooled in a number of places, and for a time, a major Calgary thoroughfare was closed. While all this rain is good for the trees and grass, many Calgarians are feeling a bit fatigued. With so few weeks to enjoy outdoor activities, it's a bit of a bummer summer. Alicia Fieldberg reports.
Relentless rain turning parks into ponds and shutting down roads aren't the summery scenes many Calgarians hope for.
A little bit depressed because the weather's no sun.
I prefer a summery summer, a sunny summer.
It's not a summer at all. I wish it will be warm.
Overnight rain caused flooding, closing a southwest section of Stony Trail during the morning rush. The city of Calgary says the storm also broke pavement along Glenmore near Crowchild, and crews had to block off the area for hours after several vehicles got damaged in the rain-filled rut.
The cost would at least be $1,800, if not more. This would involve a tire change, a wheel change, and a wheel alignment.
The rain is putting a damper on outdoor sports as well.
3,000 kids had their final play day canceled due to a massive storm that rolled in at the end of June. So it's been a season-long problem.
Calgary Minor Soccer Association has had to reschedule roughly 400 games, about 10% of the season. With the season closing soon, some of those makeup games won't happen after a record year of weather-related impacts.
Last year we had 220 games that had to be rescheduled, and the majority of those were due to smoke, if you remember last year. This year it's double, and it's all down to rain predominantly.
And puddles don't inspire paddles either. A hot May and early June helped lazy day raft rentals at the start of the season.
Up until July 1st, we were on target for setting a record year. However, since July 1st hit, the rain started to come, and we're down about 30% year over year, July 1st to now.
Rain shut down the business 11 days this season, which is tough for employees and company profits. But some see a silver lining in the storm clouds.
Well, the last few years has been really dry, so I think the water and for the Bow watershed is absolutely important. The rain is bad for business, but overall for the community, the river is important and the rain is great.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
Calgary Water Services says it is looking into more than 170 drainage-related calls. If water hasn't drained from a street after 2 hours, take a photo and submit a storm drain concern through 311. Danielle's here with a look at the weather, and of course it was cool today, rainy, some localized flooding. Is there any type of reprieve for the area?
Yes.
That's
so
great.
we are done. We are done with the heaviest stuff. Now we're just into these isolated showers. We're not looking at picking up any sort of real totals anymore with regards to rainfall, so that's some good news. And there's even sunshine in the forecast for tomorrow, which is going to allow us to get back into the 20s. Now, I will say this, cool tonight, 6 overnight, getting to 8 degrees at 8 a.m., so a cold start to the day. There will be fog patches developing as well, but then once that clears out, we're looking at a good amount of sunshine up until about 4 in the afternoon, and that's what will get us into the 20s. After 4, we have a small chance of a late day shower.
Thank you, Danielle. Alberta's measles outbreak is showing no signs of slowing down, with more new cases and an exposure alert reported this week. Doctors and infectious disease experts say the situation is now critical, and they're calling for stronger action from the province. Mark Villani has more.
Cars come and go on any typical day at the Alberta Children's Hospital, but so do the risk of infections.
That is definitely scary. It makes you think, what are they kind of doing to hopefully protect us?
Alberta Health Services says a measles positive patient visited the emergency room here on Sunday, July 13th between 10:08 a.m. and 2:14 p.m. while symptomatic. It means anyone in that area born after 1970 with fewer than 2 vaccine doses could be at risk.
It's definitely been kind of in the back of my head. I was at Stampede, and there's obviously massive crowds there.
I partly blame the provincial government for this, for not putting the attention on the matter and promoting things like vaccinations.
Alberta now has over 1,400 confirmed measles cases, the highest per capita rate in North America. 18 new cases were reported on Tuesday, the vast majority in the province's south zone. Measles vaccination rates there remain low in several communities, including Taber, where just 28% of 2-year-olds have received both doses.
There's no doubt that this is an epidemic.
Doctors want the province to officially call it that, warning that as kids return to school in 6 weeks, we could see an even sharper spike.
It takes time to book an appointment, and then the child's body needs 10 to 15 days to get to maximum protection. So book your appointment now.
The province has expanded vaccine access for infants 6 to 11 months, a group pediatricians say is most at risk for serious complications.
So if we're looking at the risk-benefit profile, we can really see that the risks of getting the illness are much worse and more frequent than the risk of getting the vaccine.
But others say a spread of anti-vaccine disinformation isn't helping that cause.
We do have a window here to reduce the risk of other vaccine-preventable diseases by helping Albertans detect disinformation.
And that window could be closing fast. Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
AHS is asking anyone who may have been exposed to measles to self-monitor for symptoms such as high fever, runny nose, red eyes, or a rash. If they develop, stay home and call Alberta's measles hotline before going to a health facility. Well, 2 pets have died, but 4 people escaped a southeast house fire this afternoon. Smoke was billowing from the Inglewood home when firefighters arrived at 2:30 p.m. 4 people escaped the historic home, but 2 cats and a snake were missing. Only 1 cat was later found alive. Investigators say the fire started in the basement and damage to the home is significant. The upstairs neighbor says it all happened very quickly. Well, still to come, what data says about the severity of crimes in Canada, what new statistics say about the number of crimes being committed right across the country.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
Canada's premiers say they're focused on eliminating internal trade barriers as U.S. trade tensions show no signs of slowing. The Council of the Federation had its second of 3 days of meetings in Huntsville, Ontario today. PM Mark Carney briefing the leaders on a looming August 1st deadline in trade talks with the U.S. and said his objective is to get the best possible deal for Canadians. Earlier in the day, Saskatchewan joined a memorandum of understanding between Alberta and Ontario calling for the construction of new east-west rail and pipelines.
It was very good. I think all the premiers are looking for ways that we can support each other. You're seeing lots of MOUs being drafted and written up. We've got a few things we still need to work through, but I think we're all moving in the right direction. I'm pretty optimistic.
The Canada-U.S. trade minister will be in Washington this week. 35% tariffs on a wide variety of Canadian goods are set to take hold next month. There's been a shift in the severity of crime across Canada. That's according to the most recent Statistics Canada numbers. But is Calgary seeing the same trend? Jacqueline Wilson reports.
The number and severity of police-reported crime in Canada decreased by 4% from 2023 to 24. The shift follows 3 consecutive years of increases, according to the latest numbers from Statistics Canada.
So a number of years ago, we created what's called the Crime Severity Index. And for that, we look at the total volume and the seriousness of the offense.
A decrease in break-and-enters, child pornography, and motor vehicle thefts were among the top reasons for the change. Alberta dropped 9 points on the Crime Severity Index. Calgary's decreased 14% year over year.
One of the trends that's standing out for us is a fairly significant decrease in property-related crimes. And then just kind of the overall general trend downwards is very encouraging for us.
However, the number of reported hate crimes has increased for 6 years in a row, more than doubling in 2018.
Yeah, we're seeing a significant increase in hate crime reporting, and it's for a number of different factors. Geopolitical challenges across the globe, issues societally. But one of the things that I wish to celebrate and highlight is the fact that reporting is going up so much because it's becoming societally intolerable.
It's estimated only 1 in 5 hate crimes are reported to police. Inspector Jessica also points to a 4-year rise in shoplifting.
Beyond simply shoplifting, now dubbed organized retail crime. And so now you're seeing, rather than just a singular person stealing for their own gain, you're seeing them doing it as part of a larger network or doing it on behalf of somebody else, be it high-level fragrances, clothing, meat, alcohol, tools, or things that are then being resold on secondary sites or kind of in an underground market setting.
Jacqueline Wilson, CTV News, Calgary.
Police are analyzing the numbers and say it's compiled it with other data sets to change and improve Calgary's police service. CTV News has obtained pictures of the vehicle police say was connected to a serious assault involving a 17-year-old boy last week. The assault happened around 9:30 p.m. July 15th on 4th Avenue Northeast near Madigan Drive. The teenager was learning to park an SUV with his mom when 2 men in a white pickup truck aggressively approached them. The men got out of the truck and attempted to get into the SUV before attacking the boy, who was left with serious injuries. Police say the 2 men have not yet been arrested, and anyone with information is asked to come forward. Wildlife experts are reminding people to be aware as bears continue to be very active across the province. It comes after several bear sightings, including a Calgary couple who had a run-in over the weekend. On a hike to Troll Falls in Kananaskis country on Saturday, the pair was followed by a grizzly along the trail. Experts say July is peak season for the buffalo berry crop, and bears are already trying to fatten up before hibernation.
Yeah, so right now we've got, like I said, a lot of bears in the Kananaskis Valley. So anywhere you go, you can encounter a bear. Just as a rough count of between reports and some of our collared bears, I believe there was as many as, including cubs, 22 grizzly bears.
There are currently 7 bear warnings and closures in K-Country. Rocker Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76. He made many stops here in Calgary and was even white-hatted. Calgary metal fans welcomed Ozzy and his wife Sharon at the airport in 2008. The pair were good sports about receiving the Calgary White Hat welcome and embraced the Western spirit. Osbourne played at McMahon Stadium for his Monsters of Rock tour the very next day. He also played several shows at the Saddledome, including in 2003 when he was given his own Flames jersey.
I don't think there's any way to properly define him. He was not only a musical icon, but a cultural icon. He had the Osbournes TV show. He had books. He couldn't go anywhere without being recognized as Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne, right?
Now, Ozzy performed at Black Sabbath's farewell gig just 3 weeks ago. His family confirmed the death this morning and has asked for privacy. Well, a cool, wet stretch of weather might be coming to an end. Danielle has more in her Skywatch forecast next.
All right, we certainly got a lot of rainfall in the city, anywhere from 26 to 32 millimeters, a lot of rain in a short amount of time. And we're almost done with the rain. It's starting to taper off, so just isolated showers at this point. So we're done with the bulk of the rainfall, and things will brighten up tomorrow. They'll also warm up tomorrow, thank goodness, because today's high in Calgary was just 10 degrees. Check out Iqaluit's high today. Yeah, just 10 degrees. Some of the coldest spots in the country, while many other communities, as you can see, got into the 20s. We will get back into the 20s, but it will come with a cold night tonight and a cold start to the day tomorrow. So it's going to be cold before it warms up. Really from Olds down to Airdrie over to Cochrane up to the Rocky Mountain House area under a frost advisory, because these communities will be dipping to the freezing mark overnight tonight. And even Calgary, while we're not under the frost advisory, we're dipping to 6 overnight, which is not a July overnight low, not a typical one anyway. Air quality is starting to improve finally in that southeast corner, and will continue to do so. We'll talk more about smoke in just a second. And we have the rain, just mainly the core of it starting to shift out. So we are improving. We're looking at just these isolated showers through parts of the overnight hours, and then that will die out in the overnight hours. And then we're looking at fog patches in much of southern Alberta, Calgary included in that, developing tonight and lasting through early tomorrow morning. So fog patches early in the morning, then that clears out. We are looking at a good amount of sunshine for Calgary and South for tomorrow, and that's why temperatures will be able to climb into those 20s. Later in the day, closer to those supper hours, we're looking at the clouds increasing. We have the potential for some isolated showers, and even up the QE2, Red Deer down to about Olds, we have the potential for some thunderstorm activity that will then later in the day track off to the east. So closer to the supper hours is when we're looking at most of that activity. If we get it at all in Calgary, it's a fairly small chance, but we could see a couple raindrops. Nothing like what we've seen from this last system. Okay, so here we go. As we pass through the overnight tonight and through tomorrow, things will really start to improve with regards to that air quality. And like we've already improved in Calgary. We've been on the low end of the scale, and we'll start to get to that moderate level throughout tonight and tomorrow for the southeast corner. Okay, longer range forecast for Calgary, 23 degrees for tomorrow, so where we should be for this time of year. Again, cold morning, but nice afternoon, a good amount of sunshine. Then the clouds will increase closer to those supper hours, and we get into a small chance of an isolated shower. Thursday will be the hottest day of the next 10 days at 27 degrees.
Thank you, Danielle. Calgarians are no strangers to hail and its potentially devastating impacts. Those who are interested got to meet the Canadian team passionate about the weather phenomenon. The Northern Hail Project, made up of researchers and field workers, hosted this free event at Telespark today, gave members of the public an opportunity to learn about severe weather, which can produce all shapes and sizes of hail, atmospheric science, and conducting field research. Hail recovery equipment and 3D printed models of recovered hailstones were also on display. The group has been also focusing its work in the Calgary area, which is prone to severe hail events and damage.
Hailstorm we had last week, we were in the city for 3 days doing a post-storm assessment and forensic damage survey. Fortunately, it was much less intense than 2024, but still, you know, the people who are affected, it's hard for them to see it that way, right?
Now, one of the group's goals is to present enough evidence to advocate for better building codes for homes in hail-prone areas. The Northern Hail Project is actively recruiting hail reporters to help collect data. Well, coming up, the peddlers piloting around High River seniors, how a cycling program is giving passengers a ride around town. The town of High River has a program called Cycling Without Age. It takes seniors and people with mobility challenges on bike rides, but they don't use a regular two-wheeler. Instead, the passengers sit up front. The peddlers do all the work, and everyone enjoys a little wind through their hair. Kevin Fleming reports.
The weather isn't ideal, but it's not stopping Edie Simonton and Dolores Rayburn from heading out on a ride. The two are covered up and protected from the rain, while Claude Laflamme pilots the trishaw.
We need the fresh air and being able to get around in the outside because you're inside all the time.
The two are out for a short half-hour ride, but can go for an hour on a sunny day.
What does it feel like? Freedom. Yeah, like you're doing it yourself.
Laflamme has volunteered piloting the trishaw for over a year and enjoys riding around High River because it's flat and there's a beautiful trail system.
Also, there's a wonderful downtown and we cycle. We can stop for coffee, stop for ice cream, lemonade stands. So we have a wonderful time.
The Cycling Without Age program is a hit at Seasons High River and its 180 residents.
So every Tuesday, they provide rides for us at 2 p.m. and we have 4 people that get to go on that wonderful ride, and we're all the way booked up until mid-August, so it's very special.
The town of High River purchased 2 bikes in 2017 and started slow with 3 trained pilots. Now it has 11 volunteer pilots with others signed up and training, and that means more rides for residents.
With the goal of just reconnecting our seniors and people with different levels of accessibility back to their community and back to nature, and just getting them out and enjoying the wind in their hair.
Laflamme enjoys riding the electric assist bike and sharing stories with passengers. He's hopeful to take advantage of the program when he needs it. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, High River.
And Cycling Without Age operates in 12 Calgary care homes. You can find out more information on our website. Well, the Toronto Raptors are kicking off their preseason in Calgary. The NBA team will be holding their training camp from September 30th to October 3rd at the University of Calgary. The sessions will be closed to the public except for the final day when they'll have an open practice. The last time the Raptors were here in Calgary was a preseason game against Denver in 2016. That's it for our show this evening. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you here tomorrow.